Have you ever watched low budget Canadian cartoon Jimmy Two Shoes? I have it on full account that it was about a poor Polish immigrant family that couldn't even afford to wear shoes. So they ate shoes and seasoned them with salt, like in the Depression era cartoons. However, you may never have heard or seen of the original pilot episode of Jimmy Two Shoes that remained controversial among the several dozen people who watched it. Jimmy Two Shoes is seen sitting at the family's kitchen table, eating what appear to be whiskers and a tail. Yes, it's true. Jimmy Two Shoes and his dad and mom were devouring the family cat. This is why the cat is not seen in the rest of the seasons or episodes. The police arrive and arrest the mom and dad who are seen giving the middle finger to the police before an officer smashes his club over the father's forehead and thrusts him into a cop car. Jimmy Two Shoes begins to cry. He stares at his shoes. He was going to eat them next week for the family's TGI Friday meal, an initialism for thank goodness it's Friday. But there would be no family meals from now on, for now or forever. This is why the mother is never ever mentioned in the show, and the family is relegated to mere background character status. Jimmy is seen attempting to bribe the officers with the shoes, who hold their hand up and say, "Halt," dejecting him. Jimmy begins to sob compulsively and runs upstairs, fastening his shoelaces around the bathroom shower curtain rod so that he can relieve himself of his living duties. However, the shoestring snaps and he falls and hits the floor, much like a shoestring budget. Cracking his skull as a red substance, presumably his lifeblood, begins to splurt and drain from his supratrochlear and supraorbital veins. A dog is seen walking in and chewing on Jimmy Two Shoes' shoes. And this is where he begins to formulate a plot. Jimmy Two Shoes grasps the shoes from the canine maw. We never do see the dog again in all of the aired episodes of this program, and places them on his hands, struggling to grasp his home's doorknob as if he suffered from Huntington's disease or perhaps stiff person syndrome. Jimmy Two Shoes is seen running down the road in Batman underwear until he gets run over by a limousine that backs up and rolls over him several times, like a cat that could drive running over a much hated dog, as if cats could drive. Jimmy Two Shoes' eyes are seen snapping off of his optic nerves and rolling off into the sewers, and he can no longer see. His body begins to rot and decay as the sun goes down. Nobody notices or cares. How could they if they don't even notice? Years pass, and Jimmy Two Shoes' corpse devolves into what appears to be a murky green Nickelodeon slime. He slurms down the road, steals a little kid's tricycle, and evolves slime feet for pedaling. Now, keep in mind that he still has his shoes, but no longer has hands. The shoes are back on his feet. Jimmy Two Shoes pedals the Walmart and slurms his way into the women's dressing room for some reason. And lights up a faggot. That means cigar. The fire extinguishing system goes off, and everybody screams. That isn't water. It's some sort of hot, seething, bubbling, magma-like liquid that lets off a gas. The gas causes Jimmy Two Shoes to melt down somehow. The shoes remain firmly intact. The Walmart closes down and boards up, and Jimmy Two Shoes' slime waste is shoveled into the dirt outside, where the parking lot used to be, an abandoned point for urban exploration. Some birds peck at his dried up slime ooze, but they all immediately die as if they guzzled rat poison. Finally, a vulture grabs one of his shoes and flies off with it and feeds it to the chicks in its nest. There's only one shoe that represents Jimmy Two Shoes now. A scene transition card flashes on screen reading Jimmy One Shoe, with some sort of ketchup or barbecue sauce drizzling off of the underside of the letters. The letters are blown away by a giant dismembered set of lips, perhaps reminiscent of the Rolling Stones logo, but trembling, blowing them away as if they're ash. The cartoonist is seen running up to the shoe, holding a single pen or pencil, which he presumably uses for stenciling. He draws a pair of googly eyes on a Jimmy One Shoe and begins to laugh. He he squats down and takes a dump in the shoe. He uses his pencil to stir around the fecal matter and then he spits into it. He then walks up to a payphone. Perhaps spurious, given this wasn't an older cartoon from the 1980s or 90s or so, calls the police and turns himself in for defecating on the corpse of a child. The officers all agree that that's disgusting, but are unsure if that's actually a crime. Uh, there's a there's a bit of an awkward pause, perhaps for 10 or 20 seconds. The scene vaguely statics like a rabbit ears TV that somehow brushed up a magnet against it. But then the scene returns to demonstrate two officers, a male and a female. It's Jimmy Two Shoes' parents. They both laugh hysterically, veins vibrating in their foreheads as they munch on festively decorated holiday donuts and bite off the heads of gingerbread men. Then they pull down each other's pants and take massive dumps upon an orange late 2000s era Nickelodeon logo. 21st century children's programming. Jimmy Two Shoes' father smiles, a wry and sinister smile, snaggletooth dangling as his lip quivers in delight. 21st century children's programming. Jimmy Two Shoes' mother concurs. They It's implied that Jimmy Two Shoes' parents make love to each other, that the police outfits were just a role play. But if so, why did the number the cartoonist call lead to a fantasizing couple rather than the actual local town police? Ugh. The episode ends with Jimmy Two Shoes' mother moaning in agony. There's a zoom in on hair, lots of it, bushy hair. It stretches and expands as she inhales and exhales aggressively, cursing the cartoonist. No name, just a title. The cartoonist. Then it happens. Something that I know I'll never forget. Jimmy Two Shoes' mother bursts the pair of two bright blue baby booties.